Alright, we are on the play with Rug Delver, match 5 of this league. We are here for the finale. How's this hand? In the dark, I don't know. Against Jund or some other deck that's going to be taking the controlling role against us, I think I would snap keep. In the dark, this is a lot harder because we have 4 lands and literally no interaction. We do have a Thought Scour. That'll help. But we have literally no interaction, so I think I'm going to mulligan it. It is with great displeasure that I mulligan that hand. This one I'll keep. I think this is a pretty safe keep. The opponent kept their 7. Mishra's Bauble I want on top. And in fact, that's going to cause me not to crack this Wooded Foothills, because that is actually good enough. I very much want that. I really want that on top. We're gonna Visions here, draw the Bauble. Vapor Snag, Snapcaster Mage, we actually might not want either of them. I could see very much wanting both, or one or the other. I think the Vapor Snag is narrow enough that we'll throw it on the bottom. We could fetch it back in, doesn't matter. Snapcaster Mage, right now is just a second copy of Denial. So I think I'm going to bottom that too. And you know what? I'm going to play this Bauble now. We may as well. We could crack the Bauble now in hopes of drawing Disrupting Shoal so that we could pitch Stubborn Denial to it, just in case that's relevant. I don't think that's very likely to be relevant. Our opponent's starting off with a Celestial Colonnade. I think we just crack this now. Look at their top card. The reason to crack Bauble on our turn, revealing a path, would have been so that we can draw Disrupting Shoal for their turn. The reason to crack it on their turn is so that we don't draw the card until our turn, which keeps it safe from Thoughtseize and other hand disruption. Bit of a trade-off there. Goyf already bolt-proof. Not Bolt plus Relic proof, which Relic is something that I could see a deck like this playing, so I wouldn't mind cracking a fetch here. Against a Colonnade Path deck, I very much don't want to be getting a basic land here. Think we're just going to grab a Breeding Pool, pay Shock, play Goyf. Almost certainly getting pathed, but that means the second Goyf is probably going to have Denial up. Sorcery, Artifact, Land, and Instant after they play that path they're going to draw. Not bad. I can live with it. 4 card types, 4/5 Goyf. Nothing here. Probably an upkeep path. Actually, that means we're going to Denial this beforehand. What are they doing? Actually, we can't Denial the path just yet. I wonder if I want to play out another Goyf. I feel like I do. I don't know. I definitely want to attack. Playing out the second Goyf while this one's still around is a little tricky, just because the opponent might Verdict 2 away, path another. I guess we have the Denial for path, so that's not the worst. Getting the second fetch in the yard doesn't seem relevant, so I'm just going to do this. Pass it over to the opponent. Unfortunately, we cannot profitably Denial until an instant hits the yard. Mana Leak we can Denial. They're still going to have Path. I think it's worth it to counter the Mana Leak. If we're not using Denial to protect our threats, what are we using it for? Basically is my justification there. Sure, they counter the Goyf. This Goyf becomes a 5/6 and we have Denial up, but right now we have 2 Goyfs. I guess they path 1. Maybe you could reason that you let the 1 get countered. This Goyf is a 5/6 and then we Denial to keep the 5/6 in play, as opposed to them pathing the 4/5 here and we have a 4/5 instead of a 5/6. But we also get an extra land in that case. The opponent with Spreading Seas, taking out our red source. Here's path that's going to resolve. Yep, we're going to get an island, and I believe we're going to hold on to that Misty until we need red. At this point, I'm a little wary of playing out any more threats, just because of Supreme Verdict. On the other hand, we're doing actual nothing if we don't play a threat, so I might want to play a Delver. I think I could live with that. It's rough. Delver does speed up our clock, which is not irrelevant, but it's definitely rough. That first hand with Delver, Goyf, Thought Scour is probably a keep against them. Thought Scour not as good as Denial, but really we already have our land drops. I think against a control deck I would keep that hand. Not sure. That's just how I feel. We're going to see what the opponent is up to shortly. Cross that path off the list of stuff in their hand. We already saw it. Blue, white. Doesn't look like a verdict. Maybe they don't have another land. That's not fantastic, but really it's just fine. Yeah. We still have Stomping Ground in the deck. So in a pinch, we could get white, red, or green mana. The opponent probably using the Spreading Seas there to hit their 4th land drop. Doesn't look like they succeeded. I imagine they would have played it. Unless maybe it's a shock land and they're just considering their options here. As is, we have a 3-turn clock. If Delver transforms, it's a 2-turn clock. And that's pretty good. Flooded Strand for the opponent. Steam Vents. Looks like a Helix, maybe. Could just be a Lightning Bolt. It's an Abrade in the main deck. Also, we're playing against Jeskai. This just in. So yeah, our Jeskai opponent is main decking Abrade. Let's just let that sink in. Creature in the bin means we have a 2-turn clock even if Delver doesn't transform, thanks to them fetching and shocking. Hooting Mandrills. I think we're just going to play these threats out one at a time and force our opponent to just keep having answers. If we play Mandrills or the Goyf and they have the verdict, that lets them answer... How do I want to word this? That lets them deal with 2 threats with 1 card. Electrolyze, okay. Do they have land, like red source? Okay, they were just trying to draw into a path. So they just didn't have an answer to the Goyf. The reason I didn't want to play into the verdict there was I want to force them to have 3 answers, as opposed to just 2. Not so much in a card advantage sense, but just in the fact that they have to draw 3 very specific cards. As we saw there with the opponent electrolyzing and scooping, they did not have a Path to Exile in hand. So by playing each threat individually, we not only maintain the card advantage difference there, not allowing our opponent to get even more of an edge on us, but we also force them to have 3 copies of a card that can deal with a 4 toughness creature, which it is an ask. It is not insignificant. The opponent there had to either go path, 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 verdict, path, path, verdict, verdict, path, something to that effect, forcing them to have 3 of, say, 8 cards in their deck, probably even fewer, as opposed to just 2, very relevant. How do we want to sideboard against blue-white control? Up a game here in this match. Super exciting stuff. We might go 4-1 in this league. How cool would that be? We're going to board out 2 Hooting Mandrills. Wait, no, this is Jeskai. This is not blue-white. I'm going to assume they're on the Tempo variant with Spell Queller. For one, it's the most popular Jeskai variant currently, and a very important second point, blue-white Jeskai decks tend to board in Spell Quellers. I'm not sure if the Jeskai decks actually do, but I know blue-white does. We're going to board out 2 Mandrills anyways. We're going to board out 2... Let's look at what we board in first. Also, how much time did I waste talking? We have a minute. Okay, game time. 1 Reveler coming in, 3 Blood Moons, 2 Pyroclasms, 1 Mountain, 2 Huntmasters. We're not bringing in Flash Freeze. Probably not that great. Certainly not awful. Bedlam Reveler, 3 Blood Moon, 2 Pyroclasm. Let's get these in the deck. What are we taking out? Oh, almighty spreadsheet. 2 Mandrills, 2 Scour, 1 Forked Bolt. We're going to start there. We might time out. We're going to discuss our changes after sideboarding has been completed today. Vapor Snag, Dismember, Disrupting Shoal, 1 Stubborn Denial. How fast am I? Denial. Vapor Snag, fast enough. Alright. Pyroclasm is coming in very specifically to combat Geist of Saint Traft, because I wouldn't be surprised if the opponent is playing it. We do have some fatties, so maybe it's not at their best, but they are heavily incentivized to deal with our fatties anyways. Our opponent kept on 7. This hand is perfectly fine. Having 2 basics in hand, not a good thing. Definitely not a good thing. I can live with it though, because we have 3 threats. Tarfire, not exactly what we wanted, not the worst card we could draw here. So that covers Pyroclasm. Forked Bolt, the only bolt effect I took out, because Tarfire grows Goyf, helps Delirium, which grows Goyf. I just said grows Goyf twice. Helps Delirium, which helps Traverse. Delver not going to transform off of Bauble, but I do like having Mishra's Bauble. I do believe we're going to play out a Tarmogoyf here. Actually, should we? If they have Lightning Bolt, that's going to be quite bad. Neither of us played a fetch yet. Then again, it's reasonably unlikely that they don't have a fetch land. I don't want to give up Tarmogoyf for that. I don't think that's worth it. We're going to get in here for 1. Our life total definitely relevant, so shocking here could hurt. I don't mind having Tarfire and Lightning Bolt up. I think we just play the Mountain, just because our life total is relevant. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up shocking next turn, though, to play the Goyf. No play for our opponent here. Let's bauble them. Take note of what they got. It's an island. It is land. Let's Tarfire the opponent. Tarfire, our worst burn spell here, because it does not deal with Spell Queller. On the other hand, it grows these 2 Tarmogoyfs that are sitting in our hand. Oh my god, I screwed up Bauble. That's the first time we did that. Delver Trigger can hit the stack first. It doesn't actually matter. We looked at our opponent's card instead of ours, and that cost us a Delver transformation. Whoops. I kind of want to fetch here, just to get the fetch out of our hand. We're going to have to fetch out a green source, but I'm okay with that, because I actually want to get a green source here, so that they can't just take out 1 green source with Spreading Seas. Gonna be a breeding pool, costing us life, but that's okay. Let's attack with the Delver for good form. Should have started there. Play the Serum Visions. Cantrip before playing out Threat. Don't want that. Mana Leak I don't hate, given that we're going to have mana for it and Goyf next turn. And play 5/6. See if the opponent has an answer, head over to them. What else did we board in? That window. I guess we could go to collection, but that's a bit of a pain. I don't want to be window hopping here. We'll take a look at why we sideboard. Oh, actually. Oh, we don't want OBS. Whoops. That was a supreme verdict for our opponent. Mana Leak for us. We're going to play a land. Don't think I want to expose the extra green source just yet. Play a Tarmogoyf. Hold up Mana Leak. I'm thinking we might go to the spreadsheet if we have time to look at what we boarded, but I guess You guys probably care more about the actual match, so let's stay there. Opt into opt. The opponent kept one on top with the first opt, drew, put one on the bottom with the second, and then drew again. We have Mana Leak up, which I like very much. If we Lightning Bolt here, we're open to a path. The opponent doesn't know that, but I do, so I don't want to do that. We have plenty of mana. We definitely start by getting in there with our 6/7. That's step one. The opponent doesn't have the removal yet. Do we play the fetch or the shock land? If we play the shock land, do we play it tapped? I think I kind of like the idea of having access to 5 mana here, just so we can leak and pay for Mana Leak, just in case the opponent has one as well. We do know they're running it. So I don't hate being able to beat Mana Leak. On the other hand, with how much mana they have here, I don't think Mana Leak's even going to be very good. So I think I'm just going to play this Misty and not commit to shocking with the Stomping Ground. The opponent, there's the next land drop. The opponent can animate Colonnade. Is that what they're doing here? It's a Supreme Verdict that we can't counter. Now I don't know if I want to use the Lightning Bolt here on end step. I might want to save it for Spell Quellers. We haven't seen one yet, so I think I want to start sending Burn at the face. Flooded Strand, definitely not a good pickup. Let's play this tapped. 4 turn clock for our opponent here with the Colonnade. Doesn't look like this game is going to go well for us. It might have if I bobbled properly. The opponent definitely not shocking here. Interesting that they're not attacking either. They're very much keeping the shields up. Hooting Mandrills. Well, we don't really have anything to do but attempt to resolve threat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Plenty of stuff in the bin. We can easily, if the opponent goes for Cryptic, we can Mana Leak it. They'll have 2 mana left over, so I want to make sure I can also pay for their Mana Leak if they have that as well. So we're going to have to use 1 mana for Mandrills, 2 mana for Mana Leak, and have 3 up. It doesn't actually matter for us to play this Flooded Strand. So do we want to keep it for the bluff? It's highly unlikely we need all this mana. Green. In order to have Mana Leak plus fetch pay for Mana Leak, we have to delve 5. Creatures, not super important in the graveyard here. I do want to keep Lightning Bolt. I also want to keep Bobble. Land, easy to delve. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 card types, okay. I can live with getting rid of the creature. And I kind of want to fetch before we play this. Let's get the basic forest. Yeah, that's fine. Play around Spreading Seas a little more. This is going to give us more stuff to delve. We still have 1 more land in our hand that we can crack, so we can replace the lands that we took out of the graveyard if necessary. Five mana up for us, the opponent thinking before they let this resolve. Nice thing about Mandrill's mana cost is that it cannot be spell quellered. Here's a Mana Leak, we're just going to pay for that. Let that resolve. 1, 2, 3. Pay yes. Okay, and I imagine they have something else they want to do here. Maybe sequencing like that to try to get the Cryptic to resolve. Cryptic definitely more powerful than Mana Leak. Inherent 2-for-1. People like 2-for-1s. Logic not. I'm going to hope they don't have a Dispel of any kind. Doesn't look like it. Hopefully them trying to pick a fight there means that they don't have an answer to Mandrills. They might have just been trying to tap us out so they could resolve something like an Elspeth. Not that tapping out for Elspeth is actually good here, but tapping us out so that they can play an Elspeth and path Mandrills puts them in a very good spot. Nahiri. So we're playing against Jeskai Nahiri then. Very interesting. Huntmaster of the Fells makes me not really care about the Nahiri unless they have a Supreme Verdict. But even if they have Verdict in hand, they didn't use it yet. So they probably don't have it as their last card. They ticked up Nahiri. They didn't draw or discard. They like whatever's in their hand. That's scary. That is definitely scary. The reason I worry about Verdict is if we pressure the Nahiri sufficiently and they don't have Verdict. Actually, does Verdict just beat us in either case? We knock them down to 3, they Verdict, they combo out on their next turn. Or we pressure Nahiri, they Verdict, they take Nahiri up, we're out of gas. Yeah, I'm just going to go for... I'm going to aim for putting them in a spot where Lightning Bolt, Snapcaster Mage, and Traverse the Ulvenwald win us the game. That means attempting to put the opponent to 3. They might have Cryptic, they might have Path, they might have Double Bolt. Oh, look at that. Our opponent playing all the new cards. Sure. In this scenario, that's just a bad Path to Exile. But hey, bad Path to Exile does the job. Let's get a Huntmaster here. If they don't... Well, they're empty-handed. They very well may be taking up Nahiri... Okay. They're going to take up Nahiri next turn. They may or may not do it such that they can draw into a spell to stop Huntmaster from transforming. A Braid. Very good here. Our opponent with enough mana to animate Colonnade. Wolf Token's not getting in. Looks like they have this. Vapor Snag. Vapor Snag could save us. Bobble. Okay. We cast that now. We're going to look at our top card. Figure out if we need to scry. It's a Goyf. We actually do need to scry. Or... No, if we let Nahiri do her thing, they animate the Colonnade. Colonnade plus Emrakul does kill us. So we need to fetch away the Tarmogoyf and draw something better. Attacking with the wolf just gets the wolf killed, so that's irrelevant. On the opponent's upkeep here with that trigger on the stack, we're going to make Emrakul lethal. But Emrakul plus Colonnade was lethal anyways, so that's not actually relevant. What are we drawing off of Bobble? It's Goyf anyways. People say that MTGO has a bug where it doesn't always shuffle properly when you scry, or when you know the top card and then you shuffle. We saw Goyf, we shuffled, we drew Goyf. How many Goyfs were left in the deck? 1, 2... Only the one. That was the one Goyf. This is a good sample for that. I should let the internet know. No, that's the revealed card zone. That's not Exile. That one's Exile. Whoops. Okay, there were 2 Tarmogoyfs in the deck. Still unlikely. Something I've seen people talk about on Twitter, so maybe people will be interested in having our sample. That's going to happen. We're going to take 15, go to 0 here, and that's going to do it for this game. Let's head to Game 3. This is a good opportunity to look at what we sideboarded and why. We brought in Bedlam Reveler to act as a decent body and draw a bunch of cards. Not at its best against blue decks, better against black decks that focus on disrupting you with discard, because you can just top deck Reveler and bam, whereas if they have a counter, it's a lot worse. Boarded out 2 Mandrills to help facilitate that plan. Mandrills also a little awkward against Colonnade. I guess not that awkward, but at least a little bit. Huntmaster gives card advantage, gives reach, is a 4/4, not bad. Knuckleblade is... We didn't board it in, but I think if I had it in the sideboard instead of the main board, I would. Knuckleblade, good against board wipes because it can bounce back to your hand. If you play it with 6 mana, You can play it after a board wipe or after a Nahiri comes down to just pressure that. Pyroclasm. The opponent being on Nahiri means they're probably not running Geist of St. Traft. They might not be running Queller either, so I think I like boarding out one more Lightning Bolt. Blood Moon, great. Turns off Colonnade. Makes them fetch more conservatively. Sometimes just stops them from playing Magic. Now, knowing what we know at this point, what do we want here? The opponent probably light on graveyard stuff, so I might want this Revelry. Forked Bolt still doesn't look good. I don't really want the third Mandrills with Reveler. Thought Scour could be okay. I also kind of want the Denial. Flash Freeze. Very good here. Do I want the Stubborn Denial? Disrupting Shoal can stay out. Same with Vapor Snag. Pretty sure I mentioned Vapor Snag as an out in that game, forgetting that we boarded out against them. So I think it's going to be Thought Scour or Stubborn Denial here. What else might I want to board out against Jeskai Nahiri? Been a while since I played against them. Could be another Lightning Bolt, but I do kind of like them. Can save us from a Nahiri. Also, Reach is good. Spell Snare. I don't think we've seen Snapcaster Mage, but I'm definitely expecting it. Maybe I just don't board in Revelry. Seems a little greedy to do that. The opponent's playing Logic Knot. I'm going to keep Revelry out. I think it's more likely they would board in Relic than Rest in Peace as their graveyard hate of choice. I'm going to run this for Game 3 against Jeskai Nahiri. We're going to be on the play. 1-1 so far, obviously. It's Game 3. This is a keep. Match 5 of our league. 3-1 in that. We're going to see if we can 4-1 this. Opponent keeping as well. I kind of want a Thought Scour on our end step here. Sorry, on the opponent's end step. We definitely play this Bauble. We know the opponent's not on hand disruption, so it doesn't matter when we crack it. Unless we want to save it for Delvers, try to save it for after Graveyard Hate. So I think we're going to look at our top card. It's a Blood Moon. I do want to draw that. I'm just going to go to the opponent here. I almost wrote down that we knew about their Blood Moon, just because I'm used to doing that. Kind of funny. Opponent with a Colonnade. Let's Thought Scour here. We drew a Traverse, milled over a Mountain and a Serum Visions. Serum Visions, the card we draw. Now, we could use the Traverse here to make sure we hit our third land drop, which is actually somewhat enticing. The opponent might hold up Mana Leak, which means Blood Moon not as good. On the other hand, we get to fetch here, use the Traverse, use Serum Visions. Not bad. I'm going to get a Stomping Ground, yes. Now, little bit awkward in this particular scenario. Bauble and Thought Scour actually turn Traverse on, so I kind of just want to get a threat. Think I would rather find myself a Tarmogoyf than a Basic Forest. Just my intuition. Let's play Visions. Stubborn Denial, not bad. I don't actually want Mana Leak or Snapcaster Mage here. We're still on 2 lands, so the second Snapcaster Mage not looking that great. Hitting another land drop would be absolutely fantastic because we'll have Goyf with Denial up. Knuckleblade significantly worse. I think we run out the Goyf anyways. On turn 2, I think I'm fine with this. If this was turn 3, I'd be a lot more skeptical because the opponent could untap and Nahiri. Mana Leak's fine. Not great for us, but fine. The opponent with a basic island, sure. They had the fetch anyways, though, so even if we had turn 3 Blood Moon resolve, not that relevant. Another fetch. Looks like Blood Moon's not locking them out of the game. Will help with that Colonnade, though. We're just going to play this tapped, I believe. Pass to the opponent. If they try to do anything, we interact with them pretty easily here. Spell Snare. or Stubborn Denial. Stubborn Denial plus Bolt. Either one plus Bolt, really. And then we resolve Blood Moon. Relic is actually quite fine. Don't think I want to Lightning Bolt them. Huntmaster, not something we can do anything with. This is a very awkward spot. If we use the Traverse to get a Forest instead of the Goyf, we would have great mana here, and we'd actually be able to play out our threats. But we didn't have any of these threats at the time. I guess we could Snap Traverse. That's not bad, it's not great. We could always Snapcaster Mage and go for Visions instead. The opponent gonna have a very easy time interacting with that, though I think we just have to play Drago here, which feels pretty bad. Exile a card. Let's go with the Mountain. Do I want a Lightning Bolt here? I feel like we're not doing anything. Drago does not favor us. It's definitely better for the opponent. Bolting the opponent's face, also not that spectacular, but it's at least something. Something better than nothing in this spot. Mana Leak. This is kind of rough. Really not sure what we're supposed to do. If we go for the Blood Moon is basically the play I think we need to resolve here. That, or we need to just hope that one of these threats somehow goes the distance, which I'm very much not expecting. Our hand very much doesn't care about the graveyard. Snapcaster Mage, the only card that actually cares at all at this point. So I'm pretty fine with that. Relic can go to town. The opponent with another Glacial Forest. So Blood Moon looking to be very good if it resolves. Looks like a Nahiri. No, it's Colonnade beats. That's actually amazing. That forces them to have 1 mana interaction with Blood Moon, which basically means Spell Pierce. I can't imagine they play Spell Pierce. Now, resolving Blood Moon means we can't play any threats. Kind of awkward. Bobble, definitely something I'm going to do. I kind of want to know what I'm going to draw, but at the same time I want to know what the opponent's going to draw. I want to know if I should play Blood Moon. And if this is a forest, I should definitely play Blood Moon. Lightning Bolt, a lot less important. If we go for Snapcaster Traverse, they can just Relic. If we play Blood Moon here, we're both locked out of the game. What does that entail? It's not good. I don't think we Blood Moon here. I think I'm just going to go for Knuckle Blade here. Green, red, blue. I'm hoping to see a path. If we can get a forest onto the battlefield, that'd be fantastic. We'll get rid of, doesn't matter that much, one of the visions. I'm also worried about Relic eating up our time. Blue, it's an opt, sure. Bobble draws us the Lightning Bolt. I could see the opponent going for Verdict here. I could also see them not wanting to do it. I just want them to Path or whatever the 4-mana one from Ixalan is. The Mass Path. I don't remember what it's called. Only attacking creatures. They used it in game 2. I think it was game 2. I bet main decking a Braid is pretty handy against Affinity. I mean, to be fair, Lightning Bolt itself is pretty good against Affinity, but, you know, being able to destroy artifacts as well, gotta be great. Okay, no paths, just double Helix. Second Blood Moon. Gonna sit next to the first. I think we want to Snap Traverse here. Just make them use the Relic. Oh, it hurts. Alright. We're gonna go for it. Target Traverse the Ulvenwald. Does it resolve? I can't imagine they want to let it. That part is fine. We will exile a Misty. And they crack it. Yup. That's all fine. Not great. Definitely not great. Actively bad for us. We're going to probably end up bolting them on end step again. Doesn't look like our opponent has plenty of good targets for bolt. Maybe Nahiri? No, Animating Colonnade. That's not something we can deal with. Without Blood Moon, that is. The opponent now has Mana Leak up as well. Yep. All of that happens. Send a bolt their way. Nothing better to do. Foothills. Drawing the fourth land here, especially important, because we have Blood Moon plus Spell Snare. Which means we can interact with their interaction. What? Good job, guys. We drew the thing. Blood Moon is a very interesting card in my opinion. Extremely powerful. Also requires a lot of finesse because playing it wrong can easily lose you a game. Now, to be fair, it's entirely possible that playing it earlier was the correct move, and I should have locked myself out of the game. But it also is entirely possible playing it earlier was not the correct move, and it feels like we were rewarded for patience. The opponent being on Nahiri is definitely relevant. A Braid gonna take care of Snapcaster Mage, because if they get a Plains, they can just straight up exile the Blood Moon. However, we are going to focus on slamming some threats here. That's pretty good because it means we can keep up Spell Snare. Gain some life, get out of burn range, make some bodies. I love Huntmaster. Huntmaster, Blood Moon, Savage Knuckleblade, all cards that don't care about the graveyard. Very nice to have because you can basically expect the opponent to be packing graveyard hate. Knock them down for 2. We're going to swing for 6. Almost certainly play the second Blood Moon, just to make it less likely for them to get out of this. We can only hold up one piece of interaction anyways. Red, red, green. We may as well have 1 mana interaction plus Bolt. And Bolt might actually close the game a turn early. Now, to be fair, we top-decked our way out of that with the Wooded Foothills getting the Forest, but on the other hand, our opponent is playing a control deck, which doesn't have a fast clock, so really, we're kind of fine. We're basically fine playing Draw-Go against Jeskai Nahiri. That's actually how I recommend playing against Jeskai Nahiri. We've discussed this in the Rug Delver forum on MTG Salvation before. You want to play Draw-Go against them because if you tap out, they deal with your thing on end step, slam Nahiri, tick up, you're in awful shape. So you're actively incentivized to play draw go against that deck, which is kind of weird because we're the beatdown, but post-board you transition to a more mid-rangey deck anyways, so you're kind of fine doing that. So really, their clock is slow enough if we keep our interaction up that Colonnade Beats takes like 4 turns, and they were interacting with things in the middle there. I was hoping they would Path Knuckleblade. Unfortunately, didn't happen. So, all in all, I think playing slow, hoping to figure out how to get there was right. I like it more than playing Blood Moon and locking both of us out of the game. Anyways, we 4-1'd that league, and look at these juicy rewards we got. 8 treasure chests, a qualifier point, Magic Online Championship Series. What is that? If we get enough of these, we're definitely going to be recording whatever we can do with that. I think it's for mocks. I think it's for the mocks. Magic Online Championship. Yep, that's the mocks. And 180 play points. Now, I don't know how Magic Online Comp League matchmaking works, so it's entirely possible that we wouldn't have won these last 4 matches if we won the first one. But if the matchmaking is totally random and not based on record, then our misplays against Storm cost us a 5-0. And that hurts, but I'm pretty sure it is record-based, so that's really moot. Anyways, we 4-1'd. Good job, guys. We can go home happy. Hopefully you all enjoyed this video. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.